Hello everyone, welcome back to Pommy and Oz. Thank you very much for joining me. If you are new around here and it's the first time wandering through the murky world of YouTube, please drop a like, please drop a follow, hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on. It means the world to me. We're slowly growing subs here and it would be an honour if you would join the Pommy train. So, talking about trains, the T train rolled in back to Melbourne and lost to the wonderful unbeaten Melbourne side this weekend. 94 points to 68, in which was really probably no surprise. I don't think anyone would have been surprised by that. But let's digest it, because, I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but I'm sick of digesting losses. It was a weird game, really, and I think there's a lot to cover in this one. In the terms of, there seems to be a real inevitability about the club at the minute, and it's a tough one where to start. I thought, when you actually look at just the core data, I thought Goodwin said something really poignant about Carlton. He said that he expected to lose the clearances, but was confident they'd win the ball back, and that's an issue that I've been covering in every video this year. That we win the clearances, but we just bomb them long. And I think the big difference is, and I'm not going to take anything away from the Melbourne side, because they are a very well structured side. They are a very good side. They weren't quite on form this week, but their system is so good. And you look at what they do around the clearances, invariably Oliver's looking to handball out wide. He's looking to get it to Langdon as quickly as possible using the width. And Carlton, we look to handball into traffic. Cripps predominantly does that a lot. Handballs back inside of him, or we just bomb it long. So it's a really interesting thing around them centre stoppages and the stoppages in general, that I don't quite understand what we aim to achieve. I kind of think at times when you look at this game, what is starting to alarm me now is when I look at the breakdown of the 22 versus the 22. This week it was the average age of Carlton was 26 on the button. Average age for Melbourne 24 and 11. Games 86.6 for Melbourne, 95.7 for us. And you look at it, our list makeup, 10 get players for Carlton under 50 games, 7 for them. 50 to 99, 4 for Melbourne, 2 for us. 100 to 149, 6 for us, 8 for them. And 150 or more, we had 5. They had 3. It's not too dissimilar. Obviously, we've got a couple of older players there that would bring that average age down. But even if you took them out, our average age is still above Melbourne. And it feels that the list and everything you look at, all the core raw data, says that this list should be performing well. And I think it's easy sometimes to come on, particularly my forum and Blue Abroad and all the others, and lambast players. And I actually watched this game, and although there's a few players that I question what they're about, systematically, we are horrendous. We are horrendous off the ball. I mean, just behind the ball, the way we set up, it's really not good. And at half-time, here's a key stat for you. 33 points were conceded from defensive transitional goals for them. It's becoming so easy. In the end, it worked out at 57. I believe, and that's the problem. And I think, and no one's talking about this, I actually think we have quite a high inside 50 number, a high inside 50 ratio. I actually think that this may be a tactic from other teams to allow us entry inside 50, knowing we are easily at our most vulnerable when the ball is in their defensive half, because there's no two-way runners. It looks really poor. It looks really stagnant. The players all over the place. And it's getting hard to watch, because genuinely, when you watch Melbourne, who defend absolutely brilliantly, and again, they put on a performance this week, the way that they stop, they kind of play like a man-on-man slash a zone. It's a very fluid system. And you look at their deepest defenders, they don't often encroach into the attacking half. Carlton's do. You see Wheaterin does it, Jones does it. We quite often play high up. They usually they're quite happy to stay a bit back and allow that forward to be one out with them. And they're quite comfortable with trying to intercept it in the hot zones. And I wonder why this has been a problem with... We do concede. We're top 5 for scores against us, defensive transition. And it's been that way since just pre-Bolton. This is something that's been around a 2017-2018 problem for us. And it's okay looking at pressure acts and pressure entries. They're all part of the problem. But structurally, I don't think they're actually in a position to implement any pressure at times. Our midfield is so high up when we're attacking with the ball that there is no presence of mind. It's almost like they're ingrained to score. And the problem is when the pressure numbers don't come from the forwards, which I always think is it is a huge worry for us. The pressure's not there quite from the forwards, but it gets out so easy, and you see it. It's a real regimented thing. And if you go through all the games this year, look at how teams score against us. It's taking the intercept. It's a chip kick up to half-back flank. It's a kick down the wing or a handball back inside. You go through the corridor, and before you know it, you've got to go. And it's not being addressed. And that is, for me, one of the biggest worries at Carlton Football Club, is it's not getting addressed. And it's been there for a long time. And a lot of these coaches have been there a long time. And just structurally, it's a mess. It's a mess. And I don't want to say where I'm going with this, that I think the buck stops with Teague. It has to, because at the end of the day, Barker won't get sacked mid-year. Players won't get delisted mid-year. When you're the head coach, you are solely responsible. It's okay having lines, but at the end of the day, you're the one who's got to find a way to pay your mortgage when it all goes wrong. And for me, I'm questioning Teague. I'm questioning him big style, because I just don't think he has it. There's things there that I don't get about Carlton. His press conference, the Patrick Cripps thing, for me, if he'd actually validated Cripps was hurt, I understand protecting your players, but you are protecting him by saying that, because after that, articles were just written that he's out of form, he doesn't want to be at Carlton, West Coast have turned his ear. And then to say, the one that blags my head, and that it hurts me to say it, the idea of having Cunningham on Jay Cleaver, and the way it was sold was he's an aerial threat. I can't remember a time Cunningham's left the ground. He's a very good footballer and I rate him, but Cunners would be the last player I'd play as a stopper, as a hindrance to Jakey Lever. And then him saying, oh, well, then we decided it was Owies. It's mind-boggling, because that would never have worked, not in a month of Sundays. It's one of the most baffling things I've ever heard. And he said it with a smile as well. It was ironic to me that David Teague said that it was his worst press conference when he delivered that Cripper news. You want to calm down, mate. This was way worse. This was way worse. Because to me, I feel uninspired when I listen to Teagan. If I'm uninspired, what is that transcending to the players? The players look lost out there, particularly defensively. Attacking-wise, we go on about it, but this week, it was just bombs into Harry, and thank Christ Harry is evidently superhuman. We look devoid of a plan B, and that is really unsettling. And I think my anger comes that I look at this side, and I believe that this side should be competitive. But we've kind of recessed as a fan base. It's okay, we're only losing to the top 8 by 3 or 4 goals. It used to be 60. That's not a mark of improvement. I've never ever heard a loss be used as a mark of improvement in my life. And I'd say soccer is a hell of a lot more passionate than football. So with passion gets nuffies. Never heard anyone say we used to lose 3-0, now we use 1-0 as a mark of improvement. It's still not there, and I think what worries me more is it's so easy to break down. That's where my concern is, to try and explain that to people who wonder why I'm angry all the time. It's so easy to break down, and if it's easy for Essendon to do it in large patches, it's hella easy for the top 8 to do it. And it's the disrespect coming from opposition coaches now. You've got Goodwin saying we knew we'd win it back, which is basically him saying Carlton used the ball like an absolute, like it's a freaking hot toffee apple. And then you've got, you know, Hinkley saying, oh, we thought the game was won at half time when it was only a couple of goals. They're starting to disrespect us. We don't have anyone's respect in the AFL. And I don't blame them. I mean, when the game goes on, you genuinely as well, at the start of the games, I think one of the most glaring things to talk about pressure, we know that's a big thing for me, is usually you see your pressure indicators quite high at the start and towards the end. Usually the first, everyone's fresh, everyone's looking and hungry for the ball. It was actually our 2 lowest quarters was the first and our second with 59 across as a team. 59 pressure acts. It's so bad, man. Like, it's so bad. Like, Zach Williams had a donut in the third and the first when the game was really still there to be won. Only Cunners had zeros in a quarter and he didn't play. Plowman had a 0 in the third as well, but I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? And it's alarming for me. It is really, really starting to... It's alarming because it's not there. And you can validate the team as much as you want, but you've got to be honest. How easy it is to score against us, how we break down at a contest, how we... It looks like we have no interest, but I literally think structurally it doesn't matter who you play. Because the back line is good on paper and they're getting the write-ups of they're getting beat because of the lack of cohesion anywhere else on the ground. Defence starts in your forward half, and when players are allowed to exit 50, defensive 50, with no one around them, you're causing disasters. This is an issue that David Teague knows about because it's been brought up in numerous press interviews. It's been brought up numerous times with Bolton. Our inability to defend against transition, and it's back again. And for me, it's not been addressed because if anything, it's actually got worse when you look at how we set up, because now there's reasons for them to move forward because we've got the ball a bit more and you're seeing the issue with it, and it's not been addressed. And if it hasn't been addressed now, he's been there for his 3rd season now. I know one was a half season and some people don't count last year because of COVID, because evidently COVID doesn't count. But I don't think it's any surprise you look at St Kilda and they're struggling on transition, that the quarters are longer. And I had this view round 17, round 16 last year on Blue Abroad, that it'd be interesting to see if Carlton can keep it up in the longer format of the game, because there's more opportunities to score, more opportunities to put pressure in, less time to get back then. There's more time to pull it back now and really change things around. And I don't think we change things enough. And I'm genuinely worried. Genuinely worried. We've got Hawthorn this week, which on paper we should batter them, but it's just how easy it is. And that means we rely so much on Mackay. I mean, you take away Mackay in most of the games this year and we've got issues, because he's playing sensational football. And I worry about little things. I'm worried about Stocker kicking his first goal with no one getting around him. I'm worried about Trent Rivers smacking Harry in the third when he took that mark and got the free, and he smacks him off the ball when not one Carlton player jumps to defend him. No one runs after Stocker to get around him. What is going on? And I think there's something larger at play. There is something bigger at play, because we're Carlton Football Club. We stand for so much more, and it feels like there is something so obvious that's not being addressed, and I want to know why. And that's where my anger stems from, because this list isn't as bad as it appears. results-wise, they're so much better than this. And it's breaking my heart because it's the same thing. And in my opinion, they are not set up to win games of football. The only way we can win football at the moment is a good team doesn't play well and we play sensational. And that is a dangerous way to live, because at the moment, it's coming true. I know the run has been tough, but if we don't start winning soon, big issues. All in all, I think it was a poor performance. I think we learnt a lot. Structurally, we're not there. I think application, I think the structure doesn't allow them to apply themselves. Because imagine being a player with our defensive setup. You try so hard and you do so well, only for the ball to waltz into the back line and a goal kicked. So easy, man. Like, watch a side this week and you see how easy Melbourne's goals were and how little did they have to work for them in comparison to the other sides. Needs to be better. And I think Teague needs to worry less about his press conferences and injuries and stuff, and get a game plan together. Go back to basics. Because at the moment, this system does not fly. One thing before I leave is, why the fuck is Setterfield playing on the ball for the VFL? And he comes back into play the wing for the seniors? Everything's backwards at the moment. It is basic shit as well. Pardon my French, it's basic stuff. It's so basic, man. Like, we're training him to be an on-baller in the VFL and then fling him into a position that he got dropped for. It makes no sense. It's like a Kajagoogoo song. It makes absolute no sense. I have no idea what's going on anymore. I don't even know how you analyse this, because I feel like I'm degrading you guys and girls by analysing it, because you can see what's wrong. And I'm trying not to get angry about it, but honestly, I am broken inside. I am hurt, man. I am hurt. I believe so strongly in these boys. I believe so strongly this was the year. I got so excited, man, and I feel so deflated. So deflated. And I hope they feel it too. And I hope the coaches do. But we go again. It's all we can do, innit? Turn up next week. Hopefully get a result with Hawks. I'm at a Hawks function tomorrow, so hopefully I can get inside their heads. I'll do my bit for the boys. I'll let them know who's the main man. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for hearing my rant. I love you all. Much love. Pommy out.